So I'm back to chat some more. This time I was thinking about how rough the year was and how probably similar this year will be for the next little bit. I was trying to think about what were the things that got me through 2020. And for the most part, it was art. It was music. It was television. It was movies. Oh God, I love movies. And it was books. Sometimes, surprisingly enough. Thought I would relax with you and go through some of the art that got me through the tough year, and maybe you'll discover something cool. First off, probably something most of you have seen, but it was Euphoria. It's such an honest portrayal of like mental health and just so many things that I think most of us have probably been through, especially if you have any kind of mental health issues like I do. It was a really honest show. It was also like surprisingly fun. It was kind of like really real and also really fun, and you probably know this. I mean, most people have probably seen Euphoria, but if you haven't, probably should check it out. And if you have, I think you would probably be surprised at the amount of rewatch value there is because of just how deep some of the subject matter is and how kind of layered the writing is. You probably missed a lot the first time. Definitely something that kept me sane. The next thing was Fall Out Boy's music, in particular Folly Adde, one of my favorite bands of all time, probably no surprise. And this album in specific is a fan favorite, probably my favorite, but if you don't listen to a lot of Fall Out Boy, you probably haven't heard it. And I think the cool thing about it is if you know anything about Fall Out Boy, you know that there's a lot of obvious strong emotions in their music. But the cool thing about this album is that there's also a lot of more experimental, up to your interpretation stuff. So you get the emotional connection with the music. But if you're someone like me and you like to dig into the lyrics of something, there's a lot there to interpret and dig apart and figure out what it means to you. I think that's why it was such a good album to listen back to, even though I've heard it many times. Thirdly was something I just discovered in 2020, which was the original Ghost in the Shell movie. Honestly, it's very popular, but I doubt many of you have seen it because it is kind of older. I think it came out before I was born, but it's a great kind of cyberpunk-esque story, and it has a lot of great commentary on things like autonomy and, you know, what makes you a human, as well as obviously some cool sci-fi stuff. But I think the messaging in it is really cool, and it's something I've rewatched several times because there's a lot of dense material in there. You could watch it for the first time like I did and appreciate a lot of the basic story, but there is a lot of dialogue to kind of dig into, and if you're someone like me and you like to, you know, sit with your media and have it give you more than just one watch, it's a great one to revisit, and you're always going to kind of notice something new. Next up is actually the book I have here. It is Sweet Dark by Savannah Brown, one of my favorite writers as of recently. There's just certain artists that I will find where I feel like our brains work the same way. I just feel like I have such a connection with the way she lays out thoughts she's had in this book of poetry. Really feels like something I would think, something that connects with the way my brain works, and it really had an emotional impact on me. Her other book of poetry I don't have on me, Graffiti, is also really good, but I think this one, I think I connected with this one a little more, but it's hard to say. I love them both a lot. Maybe I should have just put both of them in this spot instead of just one, but her work is really good. If you want an easy way to get into it, she has some really good YouTube videos, especially her last couple before the book announcement were really good, and I think that's actually what got me into her work. It's this weird thing where it's kind of poetry, but it's also kind of like vloggy. You just kind of have to watch it, and if it connects with you like it did me, you will love her writing as well. And the last thing was something I discovered in 2019, and I've revisited multiple times this year. It is Frances Ha, directed by Noah Baumbach and co-written and starring Greta Gerwig. Greta Gerwig is one of my favorite writers and directors. I love her movie Lady Bird. I obviously love Little Women, and I did first just check out this movie because I wanted to see her kind of writing debut, kinda, and it really had a big impact on me. It's very relatable. Again, the kind of artist where I feel like there's just something similar about the way she writes and thinks and articulates that, to me, it just feels like something that just speaks to me. I don't know if this makes much sense. It explores that kind of young adult period after you're out of high school, kind of drifting around trying to fit in really well. I know I've seen a lot of people on like Twitter and stuff say that they wish there was coming of age movies for people university aged. This is definitely the movie for you if you ever thought that. And yeah, it just really hits close to home, and it's also very comforting. It deals with a lot of deep subject matter, but it has a lot of warmth and heart, and it doesn't depress me. So it's very comforting, and I think that's one of the reasons I've come back to it so many times, because I can just kind of put it on and feel like I'm hanging out with a friend or something. It has a very warm personality to it, and I think that is important in something if you're looking for art to kind of get you through the hard times, is that, you know, I like things that have deep messages, obviously, and I like serious subject matter as much as anybody, but I also want something comforting every now and again, and it's kind of a bit of both to me. So Frances Ha is definitely one of my favorite movies now. Sometimes I even prefer it to Greta's movies of her own, but honestly, Lady Bird is still probably one of my all-time favorites, so I don't even think I can say that, but it is really good, and it's kind of one of those movies that maybe not a lot of people have seen. If you haven't seen it, and anything I said about it sounds interesting, I would definitely check it out. So this is just a little chill vibe. I would probably be remiss if I didn't mention that obviously I make art, I make music. If you somehow are watching this and you haven't heard my music, please listen to it. That would be nice. I'll probably be back soon-ish with another video. It's kind of hard for me to do these kind of things. I feel very vulnerable about it, but I do kind of like this connection, and I feel like the people who have commented on my previous video and talked to me about it has been some of my favorite interactions I've had online. So thank you to those people, and see you again soon.